Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the College Basketball Courtside podcast. This is a Sunday special edition to cover all of the Players Era tournament, cover the rest of the Feast Week games. You guys, what an awesome week of college basketball. If you're not a college basketball fan, or now is the time you're starting to get into it, it's the perfect time of year. This was a perfect week of ranked matchups, some good upsets. We finally saw an unranked team beat a ranked team. They started 0-96 against ranked teams so far this year, but that streak ends. Going to cover every single game, and then I'm going to cover all of the championship games, so like the Maui Invitational, the Fort Myers Tip-Off, Players Era Championship game. All those championship games going to be covered as well. Going to end the show with the best individual and team performances. Just as a reminder, I will be posting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and then also on YouTube before I have the visual. But that will be at 8 a.m. This is just a Sunday special, again, with the Players Era, with Feast Week. There's so much to cover. I had to make a separate video that's just going to cover all of these topics, all of these games from Feast Week. So let's dive into it. Starting with the Players Era tournament, these are the rest of the games after the first 2 days. Starting off with Syracuse against Iowa State. Syracuse 64, Iowa State 95. Syracuse gets crushed by Iowa State. They finish 0-3 for this tournament. The highlight of this tournament being taking Houston to overtime without Diney Freeman, their leading scorer. So I'm pretty impressed by that game. But besides that, Syracuse kind of struggled. They got smacked by a really good Iowa State team. I think Iowa State's better than what their ranking is, and I'm sure that they're going to jump up. But uh, I think Syracuse has a lot to address, especially in the offensive end. They just don't really have anybody else to score. Kyan Anthony really struggled in this tournament, playing against high-level competition. He's really good, but they don't have that second or third go-to scorer consistently, like that second star. It's more of role players. So I wonder who's going to step up for them. For Iowa State, one of the few teams who came out of the Players Era tournament undefeated. I think they had a huge week. They had a great week. Jefferson, Milan, Taman Lipsey in the one game he played in, they all played great. Josh Jefferson, I think, is going to be an All-American if he keeps it up. Same with Taman Lipsey, as long as he can get healthy. They have one of the best trios in all of college basketball, actually, and they are so good in the defensive end, like all these Iowa State teams in years past have been, but this team especially because they have the offense to match. So, uh, huge week for Iowa State. Ken Palm rankings as of today, Sunday, 11:30. Syracuse is 71st in the Ken Palm. Iowa State's fourth in Ken Palm, even though they ranked them at 15. Again, they had that big week. I think they're going to jump up into the top 10. Next game, Notre Dame 55, Houston 66. Notre Dame finishes 1-2. They had a lot of offensive struggles in this game and honestly in the tournament. Besides Marcus Burton, he is going to be potentially an All-American. Whether or not Notre Dame wins enough games for him to be an All-American, I'm not sure that's going to happen, but he's going to at least have the stats. He is super talented. Does not matter who he's playing against. But besides him, like Syracuse, they don't have many options. Nobody really played well. They have some talent, but that doesn't really show. A lot of guys are super inefficient. They played some good teams, good defensive teams, like Houston, obviously, but I was disappointed to not see a second scorer or a guy step up. For Houston, they have a bounce back win despite only 1 point from Kingston Flemings. He had a really up and down tournament. He scored 9 points one game. He had 27 points, I believe, in the other game, and then he has 1 point in this game. So really up and down for a kid who's been super consistent so far this year. I'm not too worried. He has shown enough to make me confident in his abilities moving forward. But Houston did lose a game in this tournament, which we're going to cover, or which we already covered. But I was still impressed with them. I think they're still a super good team. They just need to have those veteran guards, Milos Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp, step up because they've been inconsistent all year. So they need to step up their consistency. Ken Palm rankings: Notre Dame right behind Syracuse at 72, and then Houston ends up at 7th as of today, the Sunday 11:30. Next game, Kansas 81, Tennessee 76. What a awesome win by the Jayhawks. Tennessee takes a step back. They just beat Houston. They play Darren Peterson-less Kansas, and Kansas goes in and just takes care of business. I'm super impressed with that. And Kansas has shown some fight with Darren Peterson getting out. I think him being out this early in the year is exactly what this team needs to kind of force the other players to step up. A lot of the talk, for me especially, this offseason has been Darren Peterson's going to carry the offensive load and nobody else is going to help besides maybe a little bit from Badunga. But um, Trey White has really stepped up. I've been super impressed. Bryson Tiller is a good freshman. He's a little inconsistent from three, but he has been really good as well. I've been impressed with his maturity. But they finished 2-1. Kansas I'm sorry, Kansas finishes 3-0. But my notes wrong. This game, Trey White, 14 points on 4 shots. Badunga played super well. But Tennessee, let's cover them. They finished 2-1 in this tournament. They beat Houston, obviously. That was their big win. But Nate Ament and Jacoby Gillespie played great all tournament long. Tennessee is going to be really good in the SEC. I'm super excited for them moving forward. But their Ken Palm rankings, Kansas is 20th. Again, super impressive without Darren Peterson. And Tennessee is 14th in Ken Palm, which is about right at their rankings at 17. So we'll see what they jump in the AP poll. But decent week for Tennessee. Excited for them to move forward. They have a ton of talent. Nate Ament and Jacoby Gillespie are so fun to watch. Next game, St. John's 74, Auburn 85. St. John's finishes this event on a huge collapse to Auburn. Got outscored by 20 in the second half. They went 1-2 in this tournament. Zubi Ejiofor had a good game, but Bryce Hopkins really struggled. I am officially sound the alarm, worried about this team. I mean, like Ejiofor is good, but he hasn't had the stats like last year. Bryce Hopkins is good. He had an off game this game, but I think he's been one of the other consistent players. But besides that, you don't know what you're getting from Sonoan from Arizona State. You don't know what you're getting from Ian Jackson off the bench. Why he only plays 20 minutes a game, I don't know. But, you know, I trust Rick Pitino over myself as a coach, so I trust him. Sellers has been pretty good, actually. As Osiah Sellers, he's been probably the best guard so far this season, but he's really it. And Dylan Mitchell, yeah, he's really good off the bench, but they just don't have, there's no continuity. It seems like none of these guys like playing with one another. If you watch them play, the ball sticks sometimes, and it's just not very fun to watch. You know, when they get up and down and running and scoring, that's fun, but sometimes they get so stagnant and they just don't know what to do, and they rely so much on their talent, which they have so much talent in the country. I mean, there's a reason they're preseason number 4. They're super talented, but worried about this team. I really am. I'm worried that against good teams, they're just not going to have it because they don't have the continuity, they don't have the chemistry, and they have the talent. But if one guy has an off night like Bryce Hopkins, do they have enough to make up for his struggles? But let's go to Auburn. They pick up a good win after getting smoked by Michigan. Michigan's one of the hottest teams in the country. We'll cover that later. But pick up a good win. Todd Pettiford finally looked good in this tournament. He played good against Michigan. He played really good in this game. 25 plus points. I forget exactly. But he was awesome all tournament, which is what Auburn fans probably really wanted to see. And Keyshawn Hall looked healthy. He looked good, which is also good to see. So I'm less worried about this Auburn team than I was, because if Pettiford can play at this level, and he did it against really good competition, then they're going to be just fine. So really impressed with Auburn in this win. They finished 2-1 in this tournament, beat Oregon as well. So nice job, Oregon. The Ken Palm ranking, St. John's finishes at 18th as of today. Auburn finishes 23rd as of today. Now let's get into the next game. Baylor 91, San Diego State 81. Baylor finishes the tournament 2-1. They took care of business. Cameron Carr played well. He's been one of the biggest breakout stars in all of college basketball. He had 20 plus points in every game. I'm excited to see what they can do in the Big 12 because of their talent level and their offensive abilities. I'm just worried that they play way too much one-on-one. Their assist numbers are super low. So I am worried about that, but Baylor's a fun watch. Really impressive freshman. Cameron Carr, again, he is terrific. So I really like watching this Baylor team. For San Diego State, they go 0-3. Not much to take away. They played awful. A lot of people were high on this team as being one of the best mid-majors coming out of the Mountain West, but they've really struggled. Miles Berg continues to not be the star that we hope for. Baylor finishes 24th in Ken Palm, including the 14th ranked offense, and San Diego State is at 48th in the country. Okay, coffee break's over. Next game, Maryland 72, Alabama 105. Maryland finishes 1-2 after getting crushed by Gonzaga and Alabama, two top 15 teams. Farrell Payne, he looks really good in the interior for Maryland. Uh, he's really the only shining spot for this team all tournament long. They really struggled. David Coit, he had that one monster game a couple weeks ago, 41 points, but didn't have a good tournament at all. Super inefficient. He's a roller coaster. I mean, I'm sure all Maryland fans know that he's been so up and down. He has the talent, but just hasn't put it together every single game yet. Farrell Payne, he's awesome, but this team struggles, and this is a really good Big Ten, come to find out. So I'm curious to see how they're going to fare in Big Ten play. I think they could upset some teams just with David Coit having that high firepower. But they go 1-2. They had a tough schedule. They had a tough draw. So I'm hard pressed of if I'm panicking about this team or just they had a tough schedule. I'm leaning towards they just had a tough schedule, but we'll see when it picks up in the Big Ten. Alabama, they go 2-1. Their lone loss coming at the hands of Gonzaga, who's one of the hotter teams in the country. Ranked super high on KenPom. LeBaron Philon, Aiden Holloway, they played awesome all tournament. I would like to see this team pick up another good win. They do have the hardest schedule in the entire country, so it's tough that they might have some early losses, but I want to see them beat another ranked team to really show, hey, we're here to play, because they're super talented with Philon and Holloway, and they're Aiden Sherrill, Michigan man, as he's just from Michigan. He went to OTE, but he's been good. Taylor Bolbowen, he's been pretty good. So I like this Alabama team, but want to see them do a little bit more. But one of my favorite teams to watch because of that backcourt. Maryland finishes 94th in KenPom. Yikes. As of today, Alabama's 13th, including the third ranked offense. What does that mean? Gotta play some damn defense. Next, Oregon Creighton, the battle of the bad vibes team off. Both these teams have given me bad vibes all season. I was high on both of these teams. Picked Creighton to be third in the Big East. I picked Oregon to be fourth or fifth in the Big Ten. Wow, I look silly because of that. Oregon 66, Creighton 76. Jackson Shelstead had 9 points on 15 shots. That's kind of how his whole tournament went. He was shooting tour dates. He played awful. I mean, he's supposed to be the star, the veteran, and he has not been this season, and Oregon has struggled because of it. We need to have a conversation about his efficiency because, excuse me, I don't know if he's the guy. Oregon goes 1-2 in this tournament. I'm down on this team. Biddle missed some time, who he's the best player by far and away. And this team has bad vibes. They're coached well, but I don't know if it's health. I don't know what it is. If it's confidence, but this team needs to figure it out. They're going to struggle in Big Ten play for sure, especially if Biddle continues to miss time. For Creighton, Blake Harper played well in this game. Owen Freeman had an efficient 14 points in just 17 minutes. Good to see him be more productive in the little minutes he's getting right now, coming back from an injury. He's super talented. I picked him to be pretty high up, Big East player rankings. I think I had him fourth. So it's good to see him play well. Both these teams need to figure it out. Both finished 1-2. Oregon 85th in KenPom. Creighton 56th in KenPom. Still seems a little bit high, but they do have the talent. So let's see when they can get healthy, if they can start winning some games, and if they can all put it together. None of these guards have all put it together in the same game. Blake Harper, Josh Dix, Jackson McAndrew. I know he's missed some time as well, but they just haven't put it together. But we move on. UNLV 65, Rutgers 80. Sloppy game. UNLV goes 0-3. Rutgers goes 1-2. Not much to cover here, honestly. UNLV is 138th in KenPom. Rutgers is 122nd in KenPom. Now, let's cover some notable games before talking about all the championship games. First, I'll do the CBS Sports Thanksgiving Classic. If that means anything to you guys, it doesn't to me. But this is Duke, Arkansas. Number 4, Duke. Number 22, Arkansas. What an awesome game this was. Great way to end the Thanksgiving night. Duke 80, Arkansas 71. Cam freaking Boozer is all I can say. I mean, this was such a dominant performance for a guy who didn't score a point until 10 minutes into the game. I was worried watching the game, and I was thinking, like, are they going to get him involved? Is he just going to be passive all game long? I was really impressed with Arkansas's defense. And then you can just see it all click. He finished with 35 points, 9 rebounds against a very good Arkansas team that I am still high on after losing this game. I think Duke's one of the best teams in the whole country. I think I'm in the majority by saying that. But so far, Cam Boozer leads this team in every single category. And if you compare his stats to, you know, stars in the past for Duke that are kind of playing that similar freshman jumbo guard big role, his stats are better than almost all of them, probably all of them actually. He's been the top scorer at 22 and a half. But Cooper Flagg, Paulo, Jason Tatum, Marvin Bagley, Zion, um, all these guys, his stats are better than. So he has been so good. He's been getting a lot of crap for not having translatable skills or something like that. But I mean, he's so smart. He's so fluid at his size and strength. He's only 18 years old and he's that big and that strong already. Has great balance, great IQ. I think his game's going to translate great. I think he doesn't need to rely on like a Cooper Flag athleticism or Paulo Banchero handle. I don't think he needs to rely on like those guys do on those attributes. I think he can rely on being strong, being balanced, and just being smart. I don't think he's this guy. Obviously, don't take this out of context. But kind of like Tim Duncan. Like Tim Duncan was the biggest, strongest, most athletic, but he was the smartest. Got to his spots, just took the right shots. Cam Boozer, I think, kind of plays the same way. Um, Again, not comparing him and Tim Duncan, just the way they play, not at the level in which they play. Please don't take that out of context. Caleb Foster played really well. He's starting to kind of separate from Caden Boozer as being the starting point guard. He finished with 15 points, 8 assists, a few rebounds. Duke's defense was fantastic all game. Malik Thomas, 5-star freshman, who's been great this season. Really versatile, averaging like 18 plus points, 7 plus rebounds, 4 plus assists. Just really, really athletic, long wing. He was in hell all game long with this defense. I was super impressed with the way they contained him. Darius Acuff Jr., super good, super skilled lead guard for John Calipari. Pretty typical John Calipari lead freshman guard. He was terrific, super efficient. He just makes shots, and he's just tough to stay in front of. Again, not the fastest or quickest guy, but great handle, picks his spots, gets to the hoop really well, can shoot it really well. Just an all-around great player. And then he had 5 assists as well to go on top of his 20-plus points. Again, with Malik Thomas, not worried about him struggling in this game. Duke's one of the best teams in the country, and he's been great all season, so not worried about that. But I am worried about DJ Wagner and Carter Knox. They had 5 combined points, forgot they were even playing. When I was looking at the box scores, taking notes for this, I was like, who's DeJuan Wagner Jr.? I was like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this guy. And I watched the whole game. I watched every second of that game, and I completely forgot about him. I mean, would have fall from grace, 5-star recruit, number 1 or 2 player in the country, and just can't put it together, it seems like. Carter Knox, who was testing NBA waters last summer, he came back. Where is he at? They're just not even aggressive, it seems like. They just don't even want the ball. They don't want to make big plays. I'm worried about this team because of those 2 guys, especially. I mean, you're not going to ask Trevon Brazil to do what they do. You know, Malik Thomas is doing what they're supposed to be doing. Darius Acuff's doing what he's supposed to be doing. You know, I can ask Nick Pringle to score 15 points a game. No, it has to be your super talented guards, Carter Knox or DJ Wagner. So worried about this team moving forward because of those 2 guys. You can't rely on a pretty good but not fantastic front court. You know, they're good, but a lot of front courts are better. And then 2 freshman guards. I mean, we need some veteran presence there. So worried about this team, but their talent's going to win them a lot of games. Final Ken Pom ranking, Duke 3rd. Makes sense to me. Arkansas 35th, which is pretty low. They're 47th in offense, which is very surprising for a John Calipari team. But if you watch that game against Duke, they struggled. It was not pretty. Darius Acuff was the only one that could do anything. Next game, this is the upset of the week. Ding, ding, ding. TCU 84, Florida 80. Gosh, this was so cool to watch. TCU, I remember Michigan had that close game with them, and people were worried because Michigan struggled with a bad TCU team. I was thinking, this TCU team looks better than I think people give them credit for. People are picking them bottom of the Big 12, and they've pulled off some really good wins. They beat, defending champ Florida, number 10 team in the country. Monster front court with Ruben Chinyelu, Alex Condon, Thomas Hawk. I mean, they just I can't believe they beat them. What an awesome win this was for them. They are really staying hot. David Punch, big man, Brock Harding, small, feisty lead guard, each had 19 points. Punch was the best player on the floor, or at least the best big man on the floor, which is impressive because Florida's front court is regarded as one of the best front courts in the whole country. And he was the best player by far, I think. Brock Harding, just tough. Not going to put him away easy. Going to have to kill him if you want him to stop. Uh, TCU shot only 4 of 17 from three, but they're 24 of 33 at the line. This team has such a good chemistry. They love playing together. I was saying about St. John's, how it seems like there's no continuity. TCU's the opposite. Seems like these guys have been playing together for years. They snap the ball around. They're excited for one another. They want to see each other succeed. You can tell this is such a great locker room presence from this team. So super impressed with this win. For Florida, bad loss. Condon was outplayed by Punch, and Condon is preseason All-American. He had 8 points, did have 8 assists, but still not enough to win the game, obviously. Xavier Lee, 5 points. Man, what a bad year it's been for him. Thomas Hawk, again, been one of the only consistent presence for Florida. He's been a star for them. They'd be way worse without him. He's taken that jump that some people projected he would take, from having a hot tournament to now being the official starting small forward. He's been great. I've been awesome. I've been really impressed with his game so far this year. The guard play, though, has been terrible. It won't cut it against top tier teams, and obviously won't cut it against TCU. They're not going to be able to go far. I think people were trying to compare Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland to Elijah Martin and Walter Clayton. That's unfair, I think, in my eyes. They were never going to be that, but they have not even been close. I mean, Xavier Lee was one of the most versatile players in the country at Princeton, where he was averaging, a lot of points, a lot of rebounds, a lot of assists. It's kind of doing it all. But he struggles so far playing these top competitions, these top tier teams, which is not going to get easier once you play SEC teams every single week. So worried about this team. They had 19 turnovers. Who's going to step up for them? I guess we'll see. TCU, 51st in KenPom as of today, including the 15th ranked defense. That is crazy. But you've seen it against, again, Michigan, against Florida, against these good teams. Florida, they finished at 16th in KenPom, which makes sense. Losing to a pretty good TCU team, dropping 6 spots. Makes sense to me. Let's get into the next game. Illinois 61, UConn 74. Very high. I am very high in Illinois, and UConn went in there and kind of dominated. They were up the whole game. I know the score may seem like, well, they could probably be close in that game. It didn't feel like it ever. Illinois had a couple of runs, but UConn's defense, I think, is the story of this game. I mean, Mirkovic, the freshman big man for Illinois, he really struggled. He tried to do too much, turned the ball over. They just played some really good defense in the interior. They didn't let them score like they usually do. I'm gonna read you some numbers. So this is what Illinois' players averaged so far this season, and then this is what they scored in the game. So David Mirkovic, big man, freshman, he averages 15 points per game. He had 8. Keaton Wagler, small forward, again, freshman, really good shooter. He averages 15 points per game. He had 3. Andrei Stojakovic, leading scorer so far this season at 18 points per game. He's been terrific all year long. Had some big performances against some good teams like Alabama. He had 3 points. And then big Ben H off the pine, sniper, sharpshooter. He averages 10 points per game. He only had 5. So just a really good defensive effort from UConn, holding all of these fantastic scores. Brad Underwood has such a good squad when it comes to scoring, and that's with even probably their second best, their third best player, Tommy Ivisic, being hurt and not really still playing to his full potential yet. So shout out to UConn there. Boswell played super well for Illinois. He had 25. He was getting downhill. He was the only one that looked confident for Illinois. So shout out Colin Boswell. Great game. For UConn, no one really took over. Very balanced attack. Solo Ball had 15. Malachi Smith had 14 off the bench. Caravan had 12. Terrace Sweet had 2 points. Silas Demery only had 9 points. Some foul trouble for Silas Demery. For Terrace Reed, he's still kind of working his way back from injury. But the fact that Reed can have 2 points and Demery can have 9, and they can win by double digits, shows you how impressive this defense was. And it was the story of the game. I mean, Terrace Reed averages 20 and 10 a game. Silas Demery's about 13 to 14 points per game. And he just didn't have it today, and it was needed. So shout out UConn's defense. Really impressed with them. Illinois finishes 17th in Ken Palm after this week. Makes sense. UConn at 6th. I would probably have them even higher, but nice job, UConn. They're really good. I am worried about UConn's depth though, but we'll get into that. Now let's cover all the championship games from all the tournaments this week. You guys, this is what college basketball is all about. It's the March Madness before the March Madness. It's in November. You get these tournament style brackets. You get big payouts like for the Players Era. You get these small gyms like Maui Invitational, Battle for Atlantis. Some really cool venues. But let's get into the first one, which is probably the best game of the week. Just in terms of matchup wise, the game didn't turn out to be that good, but it's the Players Era Championship game. It's the big headliner. Number 7 Michigan takes on number 12 Gonzaga, and man, what a beatdown this was. Michigan 101, Gonzaga 61, 40-point win for the Wolverines. The big stat here, individual stat, Graham Ike had 1 point. All-American big man Graham Ike had 1 point against this Michigan front court. He was 0 of 9 shooting, 0 of 4 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 1 block, 3 fouls, 17 minutes played. He couldn't do anything. He's been dominating with his strength, his skill level, his touch all week long. Gonzaga was, the hot team everyone was picking. They were picked as the best team in the country for a little bit. And I was right there. I thought they were super good, top 3. And they just get smoked. Tyron Grant Foster, he played pretty well, 14 points on 13 shots. But other than that, everybody really struggled. Huff, he played well. He had 14 points, but on 17 shots. You could tell he was kind of struggling. But for Michigan, hottest team in college basketball, it's not even close, I don't think. In the 3 games they played 2 ranked opponents. Gonzaga, who was Ken Palm second going into this game, maybe 4th. And then Auburn, ranked team. Ty Pettifer's been playing well. Keyshawn Hall is one of the best guards in the country. And they play San Diego State. In those 3 games, they had a score differential of 110. That is crazy. With 2 of these teams being ranked. Yaxel is shooting 40% from 3 on the season. He was the tournament MVP. He had 20 points, 11 rebounds on 9 shots. This hyper efficient, and I'm super impressed with him. He's arrived. He's here. Got to a slow start at the beginning of the season, but he looks terrific now, and he's going to be scary come Big Ten play. Gonzaga did have them 1 defense, according to Ken Palm, before this game, but Michigan did whatever they wanted to do. Again, they were hitting threes. They were 13 of 27 from 3. They have 44 rebounds, 29 assists on 36 made field goals. That's just zipping the ball, getting up and down, sharing. This team has such good continuity and chemistry. I think Dusty May's so good at bringing all these new faces together. And I just love this front court. Morez Johnson, 11 points, Mara, 13 points. And then they alter so many shots. They block so many shots. Listen to these stats. These are the blocks. Yaxel, Johnson, Mara. 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 2 blocks. Yaxel had 4 steals. So they had 7 steals as a team, 8 blocks as a team. Man, what are you supposed to do with that? Graham Ike is one of the best inside scorers in the country at 1 point. So Michigan, so hot. I love Michigan. I love this, especially after watching that football game last night. I'm all in. I'm all in on the Michigan Wolverine basketball team. I was anyway. But they are super confident. I actually will be in attendance at their next game against Rutgers. Super excited to go see them in person. But for Gonzaga, is it time to panic? No, I don't think so. I am worried about their guard play. They haven't really had great guard play all season yet, just because they've had such a good front court, and I'll count Tyron Grant Foster in the front court. He's been good this season. But if he's their small forward, their point guard shooting guard play has been pretty bad. So would like to see that be better, but they're still an awesome team. I think this was just, you caught one of the best teams in the country on a heater. Michigan is first in Ken Palm, number 1 ranked defense. Gonzaga is 5th. Now, the Fort Myers tip-off championship game, we got number 11 Michigan State going up against number 16 UNC. Michigan State 74, UNC 58. Man, the Spartans they're hot. Just like the Wolverines. Who's excited to watch that game when they play if they continue to keep it up? But for Michigan State, the story here is their defense, and the story here is just a balanced attack. 10 points from Kohler, 14 from Carson Cooper, 19 from Fears, 11 from Cam Ward off the bench, 8 for Cohen Carr. They just have a lot of guys that can score, um, you know, enough points to win the game, but it's their defense. I mean, their defense is so good. UNC shot 38% from the field, 4 for 23 from three, 17%. Tom Izzo, Michigan State, they're always going to guard the three super well. But they're really missing Seth Trimble, I think. UNC is. I mean, they don't have a guy that can really get downhill besides Caleb Wilson. And Caleb Wilson was super good in this game as well. 18 points, 6 of 13 shooting, 6 of 7 from the line, 7 boards, 2 steals. Had a couple of huge dunks in the first half. He was still fantastic, I think, but Henry Vassar, 13 points, 6 rebounds. Kyan Evans, 4 points, 1 of 7 shooting. He's supposed to be the guy that has to step up with Seth Trimble being out after he broke his forearm. So they missed him for sure because he can get downhill. He can create for others. He's a really good defender. Probably would have put him on Fears, who had a really good game. And speaking of Fears, I mean, he's one of the best players in the country at this point. He's been so terrific. He runs a great offense. He had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, lockdown defense on Evans, who was 1 of 7 shooting. I mean, Fears does it all. And I can't believe I did not have him in my top 10 preseason player list. But, I just wasn't sure. Last year, he was averaging 9 points and 5 assists. It's really cool to see his jump. So I'm super impressed with this Michigan State team. They're fantastic. Only shot 10 threes, made 5 of them, but they don't need to shoot threes. They get out and run. They play physical. They hit the glass hard. So they're just a good team and really good win for the Spartans. For UNC, not too worried. I am a little bit about the 3-point shooting because they were going to be bad 3-point shooting anyway. Seth Trimble's not a good 3-point shooter, so he's not going to help when he returns. So this team really needs to dominate on the interior, but when they play teams like Michigan State or like a Michigan, who are really good on the interior and defensively and they can rebound well, they're going to struggle. MSU finishes 15th, including the 5th ranked defense. I would have them higher in KenPom, but obviously it's all stats based, so I think they're better than the 15th team in the country, but UNC is 30th. Coffee break's over. Okay. Next up, Maui Invitational game. The Unction, as I want to call it, because Chad Baker Mazar won the tournament MVP. Me and him are the same age. I have worked at 3 different corporate companies now. So maybe he needs to hit LinkedIn. But, I mean, if I could play college basketball and get paid a lot of money to do it at my age, I would. So he wins tournament MVP. USC 88, Arizona State 75. USC's undefeated, actually, 7-0. Not the Maui that we thought we were going to see. NC State lost 2 games. Texas lost. So a different championship game than most people were expecting. But I think the best team won. I really do. USC's been playing hot. They're playing well. Trey Baker Mazar is playing really well all season long, actually. But they had some tough games. They had to beat a Seton Hall team who has really stepped it up this year. I was pretty low on them in the Big East, but they're now looking like they could be a top 4 team in the Big East. Arizona State has looked pretty good. They got hot at the right time. But Maurice Odom, he had 36 points against Texas to beat them in a comeback victory. So they were playing hot. They were playing really well. They beat a Texas team who some people had ranked. They had some ranked votes. So really impressed with both these teams. For USC, though, they don't have another ranked game, or they don't have a ranked game until January 2nd against Michigan. They could be 13-0 going into that game. And if they're at 13-0, they're probably going to be ranked pretty high. For ASU, great run. Beat that Texas team, like I said. He had 36. They moved to 6-2 in the year. They have some potential to be good. Again, with Odom, he's a fantastic scorer, and having a guy like that is always going to keep you in some games. But my real gripe is this: the teams from the Maui. I grew up with the Maui Invitational as being my favorite tournament. It was so cool watching Anthony Edwards, drop 30 some points in the second half against Michigan State and a close loss. PJ Haggerty, that's kind of his showing out party with Memphis. I was like, man, this guy's tearing it up. UConn goes 0-3, and Dan Hurley, freaks out and crashes out, and you get all those fun storylines. So I want to see more of these blue blood teams, ranked teams, higher programs in this tournament for that sake to get some better storylines. But it was cool to see not cool to see, but NC State struggled, so we had to see kind of their flaws. To let them shoot isn't going to work because they got lit up from three. But I want to see some more teams in the Maui. I want to see some better teams in the Maui because it's my favorite tournament. The high school style gym I think is just so cool for some of the best players in the world. Final KenPom rankings: USC 25th, which is a huge improvement from the start of the season. ASU at 84th. Now, the Battle for Atlantis championship game. Number 24, Vanderbilt takes on St. Mary's. Vanderbilt 96, St. Mary's 71. Vanderbilt continues to strengthen their resume. They beat St. Mary's, that took care of the ball, and they shot a high percentage from everywhere in the floor. They're almost 50, 40, 90. They're 50, 40, 82% from the free throw line. Duke Miles for Vanderbilt has been great all season long. He was great in this game too. 25 points, 9 of 16 shooting. Jalen Washington off the bench had 19 points and 2 big blocks. This team is pretty deep. They got some good depth. They're fun to watch. They score a lot of points. Shout out to ex-Michigan player Frankie Collins. He's averaging 5.5 assists, 3.2 steals, leading Vandy in those two categories. So super cool to see him be successful. Really fun team to watch. Could you imagine if Jason Edwards stayed and how much this offense, would improve? But maybe not. Maybe the ball kind of stuck with him a little too much. He left, and now the ball's snapping around. But this Vanderbilt team is really fun to watch. And a little surprising at 24 in the country and their hot start to the season just with losing Jason Edwards. But they've been terrific. They beat a good St. Mary's team. First St. Mary's, they did not shoot the ball well. 33% from three. 16 turnovers, not going to cut it against Vandy, against the SEC team. They also only had 7 bench points. Yes, 7 bench points the whole game. Vanderbilt had 34 bench points. That goes to show you the difference in depth there. St. Mary's, I don't know how to say his name. Paulis Baraskis. He was a bright spot. He had 24 points, 6 of 13 shooting. Listen to these KenPom rankings, though. I'll start with St. Mary's. They're 32nd in KenPom. Makes sense to me. Vandy's 10th in KenPom, including the 4th ranked offense. I mean, this is one of the most fun teams to watch, and I didn't really cover them to start the year, and that's malpractice, it seems like, at this point, because they've been so good. So if you have not watched Vanderbilt play, I highly recommend. They win Battle for Atlantis. Really, really excited to see them in the SEC this season. Next, Rady Children's Invitational Championship game. This was one that we were not expecting this to be the matchup. TCU 74, Wisconsin 63. What a good week for TCU. They continue to boost their stock. I know I covered the TCU Florida game already, but they beat Florida, and then they beat a good Wisconsin team, a good Big Ten team. Punch and Harding again, just were the guys for TCU. They go as they go. Hardy, that classic high energy guard who you love to play with, hate to play against. David Punch, again, best big guy in the floor. Nolan Winter for Wisconsin. He really struggled with Punch's size, versatility, strength. He only had 3 points in 36 minutes, shooting 0 of 3 from the floor. John Blackwell, he did have 30, but it took 22 shots to get there. He was 11 from 12 from the line. Nick Boyd was solid. He's been Wisconsin's second guy all year long. Makes sense. He was at 15 points on 6 of 13 shooting. That's basically, you're going to get that from him every game. But for Wisconsin, who's that third guy? It's supposed to be Winters, but it's not him. Is it going to be Happ? Who's going to take over for them as the third guy? Meaning, hey, when Blackwell's at 30, Boyd's at 15, that's what you ask from Boyd every game. Who's going to score that 12 points? Who's going to score 12 points, the fourth option? They just don't really have that guy right now. It's supposed to be Winters. He's been that guy, but against decent teams like TCU, need to show out. TCU's 51st in KenPom. Wisconsin's still at 27. Next game, Terry's Chocolate ESPN Events Invitational Championship game. It's a mouthful. Number 9 BYU takes on Dayton. What a game. I wasn't able to watch it live, so I watched the replay of it yesterday. BYU 83, Dayton 79. What a hot start for Dayton in the first half. They played such a weird game where they were red hot from 3, which they usually aren't, but they could not make a free throw. They were 2 for 7 at one point. Um, but in this game, it's second half BYU. The big three strike again. AJ DeBance at 18 points. Richie Saunders, 29 points. He is such a second half player. That's what he does. He just torches people in the second half. 6 of 10 from three. Rob Wright, 23 points, 6 assists. He has played awesome this season. Watch out for Rob Wright. He's been so good all year long. BYU did have 0 bench points. 0 bench points. St. Mary's had 7, which is bad. How about 0? This team's depth is so concerning. What happens if one of the guys goes down? They are very talented, but they're so top heavy that some of these guys on the bench just aren't going to be ready to play. They can't lose anybody. But they're still one of the most fun teams to watch in the whole country. They beat Miami to get to this game where Rob Wright had a good game. DeBanza had a good game. Saunders struggled a little bit, but Richie Saunders, AJ DeBanza, Rob Wright, one of the best trios in the whole country. They're right there with Iowa State. I think Iowa State's trio is probably a little better just because of their defensive versatility, where I think at times the defense for BYU can struggle a little bit, and they play a lot of one-on-one basketball. But for Dayton, Javon Bennett, 22 points, 6 of 11 from 3. Bryce Hurd had 16 off the bench. They were 15 of 33 from deep, which is they're not a very good three-point shooting team, so it was so fun to watch. But I can't believe you lose a game shooting 15 of 33 from 3. But props to BYU for battling. Again, it's the free throw. They shot like 47% from the free throw line in this game. But Dayton did beat a very good Georgetown team in overtime to make it to this game. Barely lose to a top 10 BYU team. Really impressed with their tournament. Really impressed with their feast week. Ken Pom has BYU at 12 and Dayton at 65th. Now, those are all the games that I wanted to cover. Covered most of the top games in Feast Week. There's some that maybe fell through the cracks, but those were really the big storyline games. I wanted to make sure I covered all of those in the episode coming out tomorrow, Monday, the 31st. Going to cover all of the matchups for this week to watch, all the predictions. So now I'm going to cover the most impressive player from Feast Week, the best performance, single performance in one game. It's Cam Boozer against Arkansas, 35 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. And listen to the shooting, 13 of 18 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 7 of 11 from the line. So dominant, did it without scoring a point the first 10 minutes. His footwork, strength, touch, IQ. I covered all of this, but he's just so impressive. Leads them in every category. He's here because of the sheer dominance against Arkansas. You could just tell everybody's here. He was here. It's a different level of basketball that he was playing. So shout out Cam Boozer. Awesome game against Arkansas. He's making a case to be Naismith Player of the Year. Most impressive team from this week. Shout out TCU. They're my honorable mention. They're not my pick, unfortunately. I think most people would agree with me about my pick. I'm not just biased. It's Michigan, though. Most impressive team, I think, by far. I mean, they smoked 2 ranked teams, one by 30, one by 40. They smoked San Diego State by 30. They just were awesome. I mean, they're Ken Pom first in the country now. Their defense is first, and they scored a minimum of 94 points. And they gave up a maximum of 72 points in this week. They're the best front court in the country. I don't think it's even close. Yaxel, Mraz Johnson, Ademara. I think it's not even close. I think they're much better than Florida. They're so good. They're so dominant. If they can sustain a little bit of this 3-point shooting, I mean, it's not going to be as good as it was this week, but if they can be a little bit better. Trey McKinney had a good week from 3. Yaxel had a good week. So if they can keep it up, they're going to be unstoppable, being best team in the country. But it's Michigan, most impressive team this week. They're going to have a huge jump in the rankings, and they're already at 7. I can see them jumping up to 3, but maybe 4. But again, shout out TCU because what a week it was for them. They've had a great season. But you guys, this is College Basketball Courtside. My name's Mitch. Look out for my other episodes coming out this week. You get a little special this week with 4 episodes, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But look out for tomorrow's video. You're going to cover all the matchups you need to watch for Monday and Tuesday. And then if there's any games I need to cover on Sunday, and then I'm going to cover some big storylines as well. But everybody, have a great day. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.